Hey everybody, welcome back to Harris Family Adventures. This isn't a pleasant one. Sorry guys.
I'm just here for the ride.
He's here for moral support. This is a video about driving in Worcester, Massachusetts. And really, in the Boston area, I would say specifically Worcester though. I've had so many thoughts about this. We are just about to go back home. We've been out here about 4 weeks, and just about every day, Reese and I have left on some kind of adventure or another, many times, almost every time. Because even if we take the train into Boston, we have to drive to the train station. And sometimes that in itself is tricky. So this isn't an area that I had ever visited before, and had certainly never driven in this area. And even driving to the home that we're staying at, the Airbnb that we're staying at, we kind of had that awakening of like, oh, none of the streets are straight. So background information, I'm coming from spending most of my life driving in Lincoln, Nebraska. Yes, not all of our streets are straight, but most of them are, and there's a pretty good grid system. Like, think of a piece of graph paper. Lots of good streets like that. I don't know if there is a straight street in Worcester. I don't think we've found one yet. Now, I also want to say, I have loved our time out here. I think the East Coast is fantastic, but like specifically today when we were kind of trying to get some things done. You know, if you have all the time in the world, the windy, curvy roads are beautiful. If it's kind of a short drive, you just need to get to one spot, then it taking a little bit longer isn't a huge deal. But we just needed one thing today, and we were stopping at several places, and I said, I am so sick of driving in Worcester, Massachusetts. So here are some things to know if you're going to be driving in Worcester, Massachusetts. The roads are very uneven, very uneven. If you have like a weak bladder, good luck. I mean, there are just, sometimes you just can't even avoid it. So kind of always be aware that there is a pothole or a huge bump waiting for you at every turn. Turning, let's talk about turning. So what's super fun, and I'm being sarcastic when I say that, is sometimes, most of the time, the road that you're traveling on has 2 lanes. Great, I know how to deal with that. All of the sudden, either the left lane will turn into a left-hand turn only, or the right lane will turn into a right turn lane only. And you don't know that that's coming up. So all of a sudden you're just driving and you're watching your Apple Maps and it's saying you need to go straight, and all of a sudden you're in a lane that you can't go straight. Okay, now sometimes they don't say that you have to turn, but there is no left-hand turn lane. So you have cars that then are waiting to turn left, and if you happen to be behind them wanting to go straight, you have to wait for them to turn left before you can go. That can cause some backups. Also, because some of the streets, there's just 2 lanes. There's one going one way and one going the other. So if somebody needs to turn left, there's not a left turn lane. So everybody is waiting for that person to turn left. Then sometimes what'll happen is you'll be behind somebody and they are waiting to turn left. So you're like, okay, well, there's another lane. I'll go around them. Oh no, all of a sudden, after the intersection, they give you about 50 feet notice that now that lane is ending. So there's always this like, should I wait for them to turn left? That might turn up as right for you guys, but trust me, I'm doing left with my hands. Should I wait for them to turn left? I might have to wait through the whole light, or should I take the risk of going around, not knowing if I'm gonna have to get right back over again? Or that might turn into a right turn. Other things to know, so I use Apple Maps. That is my go-to navigation system. And I would just put it in our phone, or Risa put it in the phone, and then I would just put it in the cup holder and I could kind of glance down. Because if it says something like, stay on Pleasant Street, that's one of the streets that we drive on here a lot, you might need to turn to stay on Pleasant Street. Another street we use a lot is Flag Street, flag with 2 G's. And I know that that's kind of a tricky one, especially if it's like late at night. FYI, it's November 17th and the sun is setting at 4:24 today. So that's fun, it gets dark real early. So if I'm going on Flag and I need to stay on Flag, I actually have to turn left. Yeah. Now sometimes it will say you're going to get onto a different street. So you might be on Main Street. Now this isn't, most people don't come from me. This isn't a real example. This is just, I'm throwing out some names here. You're on Main Street and then you need to get on Park Street, but you actually don't turn. The street stays the same. All of a sudden you're just on another street and you didn't turn at all. So that's super fun. And while we're talking about streets, you don't usually know where you are because it's this strange, well, there's a lot of strange things. You'll be driving and you'll see like, oh, this is Elm Street, this is Hannah Street, this is High Ridge Road, but you don't know what street you're on. So where I'm from, a street sign has 2 street names, right? Because there's only 2 streets intersecting. Here, sometimes there's lots of streets intersecting, but there's only 2 streets that are intersecting. And then on the corner, both of those street signs are displayed. Nope, not here. They've got hearts on all their street names, but they don't tell you what street you're on. The street signs only give you half of the information that you need. Yep, that's true. That's happened. I will say overall on the East Coast, what I've noticed, and this is not in any way an endorsement to go above the speed limit to break the law. I'm just gonna tell you what I have noticed is on the interstates, I will typically go like 5 miles over. If I'm going 5 miles over the speed limit on any interstate, and we've driven in Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. That's it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's it. I found this to be true with all of those places. If I'm going 5 over, I think I'm actually like a traffic hazard. If I'm going 10 over, I know, but if I happen to, hypothetically, go 10 over, people are whizzing by me so fast. I haven't seen a lot of radar people. Yesterday in Connecticut, I saw more. I did read an article that somebody in, I think it was Rhode Island, maybe Delaware, was ticketed for going 75 over. So they do give speeding tickets, they do. I just haven't seen anybody actually get one. So they go really fast, really fast. Worcester, our neighbor here explained it as kind of like a sunrise or a sunset in that it's kind of that sun and then there's a bunch of interstates that come out of it, take you up north, take you into Boston, take you down south, that type of thing. So it's really handy. I do like having interstates a lot of times to get someplace. We end up hopping on the interstate for, just a bit. There are those places though, and the exit we use most often is one of those where there's people getting on and they are in the lane that you need to be in to get off. So they're trying to get over and you're trying to get over. And then there's just like semi-truck speeding by as well. So overall, I think I've done a pretty good job. Do you agree? I think I've done, oh, here's another thing, honking. Honking happens all the time. It's just, I've seen people honk for like normal reasons of like the light has turned, you need to go, but there's no patience. It's just like they immediately honk. I've seen honking to let people know like I'm letting you in. So it's kind of a friendly honking. I would say most of the time it's unfriendly honking and I've just had to kind of get over it. I have been honked at. When my mom was out here and I was driving my parents around, she got really mad anytime someone honked at us and I was like, she's like, honk back at them. I was like, that's not gonna solve anything. It's just, so if somebody honks at you and you're not from a place where you're used to a lot of honking, just know that's gonna happen. People are gonna honk and you just like, whatever, roll your eyes and go on with it. I always just say like, they're gonna see her from Nebraska because her license plate says Nebraska and I'm just gonna probably roll their eyes and maybe flip us off. I haven't seen anybody flip us off.
Well, we haven't been looking at
We haven't really looked. So honking happens a lot out here as well. In general, Worcester, I would say, so it's very uneven and there's a lot of hospitals here, which means there's a lot of sirens here as well. Do you want to do an impression of an ambulance? That's actually a really good impression. So they don't do like a full like, they don't do that. They just start it. It's like a CD that's skipping. If you're old enough to know what a CD is, it's like when a song is, it's like, And so sometimes an ambulance will just come up and they have their lights on, but they don't have a siren on, and then they'll just like occasionally just like do 5 seconds of a siren. I don't know if that's to try and keep it quieter, because there are so many ambulances, and if they were all doing their siren all the time, I could get how that would be really noisy. Just know that. Oh, and also, gosh, I have so many things. If you're coming and there's any kind of inclement weather, we had some snow 2 days ago. There we had some flurries today. It's very hilly. It's very, very hilly. Like in the driveway, we use the parking brake because our driveway is such a steep hill. So if you're kind of nervous or apprehensive about driving, please do not come when there's going to be any kind of ice or snow, because it would be real tricky. Overall, I do not enjoy driving in Worcester. It takes a really long time to get everywhere. So from the train station, it's about 2.5 miles to our Airbnb, and it usually takes 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah, the lights aren't timed. Sometimes nobody gets to drive. We were kind of the cause of this. We walked down to a Veterans Day parade last week. It was about a 2.5 mile walk. And so we would hit the crosswalk button, and when it was our turn to cross the street, we would cross the street and we would notice all of the cars were stopped. So an entire intersection of cars were stopped just for us. So again, where I'm from, if you're like, yeah, that's how it works. No. So where I'm from, like if you're going this way, then only these cars are stopped, and all of the cars that are going the same way you are get to drive, but not here. Some of them it works that way, and others it doesn't. And I did think to myself, trying to be positive, if you lived here and you were used to it, and you would know, like, oh, this person's turning left, I'll go around them, I just have to get back in real fast, or I can't go around them because that turns into a right lane, turn only lane. Yeah, you would kind of get used to it. But as somebody who's been here for 4 weeks, out and about almost every day driving, I am not used to it yet. And while I have loved our time out here, specifically Boston, represent, I am really excited to drive back in good old Lincoln, Nebraska. Partly because I know where everything is and I don't have to type in the address of a grocery store, but partly because we have things like street signs and ambulances that use their sirens correctly. And I know Lincoln has a bad reputation for potholes, but y'all, not even close. So there's my rant on, I would say, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but I don't think there's anything good. Interstates, that's helpful to get around. That's my rant. That's my take on driving in Worcester. Have you driven in Worcester? Have you driven in this area? What do you know about it? Oh, one last thing, tolls. They have lots of tolls. So recently I drove to Harvard, and it ended up costing about $8 in tolls. It's just the cameras. I had signed up online, so they just text me. They're like, you owe us this much. We went to a mall. That was only like $2 in tolls. So there's something to look forward to. Anyway, how do you guys do it? I don't know. But we did manage to do it. We got out and about every day. If you want to see the rest of our videos, go ahead and click subscribe. We will see you next time. Bye.
I can't forget